Monday, missed trade, Super Bowl Monday. I always thought it was funny back in the day, right on the floor, how hungover people would be, and especially how hungover the New York crowd would be because it happened more. The Giants were in the Super Bowl, and it's East Coast time, and if they won, like
they're up past midnight. Yeah.
I distinctly remember picking up the phone and the trader in New York saying, "Don't talk to me for at least an hour."
Well, I had some Reveliers post game here after whatever the game was over, probably by 7, right, on the West Coast, and I stopped watching it after probably mid third quarter because I had some things I had to get done because I'm going to take a little travel this week. But it was a good game. I mean, I got to say the Buccaneers defense. I'm a big fan of defense wins championships, and I think the defense was the MVP, quite honestly.
I couldn't agree more, Matthew. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he didn't look injured at the start of that game, but man, was he sick of it by the end of it.
I mean, that one hit, I want to say I turned it back on 5 minutes to go where they just sandwiched him 3 guys, and I was like, ooh, God. I don't care how old you are. That one hurts today. I mean, even at 5 or whatever he is, that one, he just got his head, and his head was all like, they showed it from the bottom. It was like, turn that way. I'm like, geez, that's oof.
Yeah. He hats off to the defense there too. They got all that pressure. I think they only blitzed what they say 5 times. I mean, they're front.
I mean, when you have Sue lined up on your center, good luck, dude, because he's just going to smoke you. That guy is just a beast.
He is an absolute beast. Another one Detroit let get away.
Again, Detroit's known for letting all the good stuff drift away, Dobie Gray style. That was one heck. And then the other thing I got to say, again, the success the offensive line of the Buccaneers had to get that running game, which made Brady look great because all he had to do is throw to Gronk.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm talking.
Oh, there you go. Dude, speaking of Gronk.
Yeah, the running game just owned it for Gronk. And then, the prop bet that I wanted to take, which was like plus 800 if he just scored a touchdown, I didn't take. I was like, they haven't really been using him, which is the reason I should have. But I chose the other prop bet that didn't pay. And it was a fun game. It was a fun game to watch. Good for Brady.
Speaking of Gronk, and now that you mentioned that the Oregon Gaming Commission had a better prop bet because this one had yards involved with it also. And I guess on Barstool, like, please don't kill me if I don't have all these facts exact. Right. But it was a prop bet, I believe, brought onto they used Logan Paul. Like, what do you want? What's your prop bet? Right. And his prop bet was Gronk scores a touchdown and gets over 69 yards in receiving yards. And, and so he got 2 touchdowns and only 67 yards. So sorry, thanks for playing, but you're a loser. But we've talked about Barstool and how, and so there it is, 6 receptions, 67 yards, 2 DDs. You're a loser. Well, what Barstool said, that's the worst beat we've ever seen. We're paying everybody anyway because he was 3 yards short from going over. And this whoever's sharing this was saying, I've never seen this behavior out of an odds maker or a sports book. I didn't think they were possibly that generous. Now, you pointed out, Matt, how much money do you think they made on the Super Bowl?
I mean, prop bets are silly anyway. So, I mean, that probably was 1/100th of all their silly prop bets. And so many people play these prop bets because they're like lottery tickets. They're stupid. They're the dumbest bets ever, but people love them. And then they love to, they won't admit that they have them until they win. But, I don't
think. But hats off to Barstool. Like they have a marketing budget and they can put it towards a Super Bowl ad, or they can put it toward goodwill by paying all these people off for a terrible beat. They know exactly how much money that is. And like, what should we do? Like, the word of mouth of this is going to be way better than a commercial. Yeah, I thought that was
just the fact that Market Vitals alone is mentioning it gets them huge kudos to their
In
viewership.
fact, I don't know why Barstools isn't one of our serious sponsors. I really don't know. As we talk Penn Gaming, Matt, why don't you just bring the Penn Gaming chart up? Because I did notice also something intriguing that Fidelity.
We'd actually talked about it and how I was wrong on Friday on the breakout. But again, a breakout of one day doesn't do much for me. And again, we basically peaked here at the Super Bowl, looks like. So this was, somebody got stopped out pre-market at the high there, 133. And since then, it's been nothing but down. So it's down $15 and it's back within the bracket, Bob. So brackets and rackets, I don't know what to tell you, but nothing really is proven here. We only had one day, Friday, close out above this. So we'll see where we close today. But if we're here, we're already down 8%. This looks to be, a broken trade, a broken breakout once again, which this market is, again, pretty much known for. And with the events that we said, now that football's over, baseball doesn't start for another 3 months, and you got NBA, and nobody bets hockey anymore because does anybody even know hockey's going on right now?
Right, exactly. I'm not sure that they do. And hockey, Matt, brings me back to one of my great jokes of all time. The guy calls the bookie on Saturday, loses 10 college football games. He calls the bookie on Sunday, loses 10 NFL games.
Who do you got?
Calls on Monday night, he bets that game and loses that too. Calls the bookie on Tuesday. Bookie's like, hey, listen, I only have hockey on the board. And the guy's like, hey, what the fuck do I know about hockey?
I'll take all the games though. I'll take all the favorites.
All right, Matt, we have to just have just a moment here. I know you're a Detroit guy, so you know the story probably better than most. But Leon Spinks, back in the day, dude, this was as big a news when he won the first fight against Ali as there was. You speak to it a little bit, Matt, because I want to circle back to the Leon Spinks story on the tragic side. But go ahead. I think.
Yeah, he was a Detroiter, and most people, I don't know, if you're not from Detroit, you probably don't remember this, but before MMA, boxing was pretty big in as you just said, with Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes in the heavyweight class. The 70s and the 80s were huge in Detroit because you had Emmanuel Stewart, who was the trainer of Tommy Hearns, and therefore, came along with that was Leon Spinks and his brother Michael, and they were amazing. I mean, he rocked. I don't know if you remember that first fight. He absolutely stunned Muhammad Ali. Like, nobody expected him to win. They expected a good fight, but he literally made him look like an old man in that bout, Bob. And it was like, we're like, holy shit, this is like a change of guard. Like, things had definitely changed. And Muhammad Ali at that time was ripped and he was in his prime. I mean, he was not.
Yeah, he was.
He was not on the downslide at that point. So it was a big deal.
Absolutely.
And then, in Spinks, he got his start. I remember I was 10, but the 76 Olympics in Montreal, that's where he won the heavyweight championship. And from there, he jumped off into his professional career. And God, he was an amazing, he was a brawler. He was just a beast.
He was just, I went back and watched some of the footage of some of the fights. Yeah, just an absolute animal. I think important to recognize him and his great achievement. And also to recognize too that the fight game and here's my thought on gaining wealth. You can gain wealth, but if you don't have any skill set around retaining wealth, that's a real problem. And I've seen it in trading. I've seen it in my own life. Like you're not prepared. Nobody's taught you. Forget the economics of retaining and holding your wealth. And that was the tragic side of the Spinks story of how, I remember him, fighting in the VFW hall in Lyons, Illinois, late because he had zero money left. He bounced for Ditka at Ditka's restaurant and bar in the day. So note to you young traders, man, you need to develop a skill set on retaining. It's not just making wealth, right? It's retaining wealth, because there's a whole nuance to retaining wealth. And you got to learn that part of it too.
Yeah. And what do you call it? The Klingons that you have, especially from folks that, come from nothing. And then all the people that maybe helped them with $1,000 here, $1,000 there, right? Just to pay for their training or whatever, whether it's music or whether it's sports. I mean, unfortunately, some of those people helped you, but you don't owe them your whole life. They may have, helped you $1,000 and you give them a 10X maybe, but I don't think, the problem so many of these guys have is they feel just obliged to take care of so many people beyond their family for the rest of their life. And you just can't do it. I mean, that gravy train doesn't last forever. So it's probably the hardest thing to do, but it also shows you who your real friends are. And if those people are only around for the money, then let them go,
Absolutely. Matt, this one I wanted to bring up too, because there's so much information flow, right? And there seems to be very little accountability on not only popular people, but also from this story, the actual interface itself. Robinhood, this young man took his own life because he couldn't get through to Robinhood's the help and support line, and he thought through his interaction that he was out hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I don't know the particulars of the story, but his parents are suing Robinhood, and there seems to be a little disconnect on what people, what happened to libel and to responsibility. And I mean, back in the day, you said stuff that fucked people up. You paid for it. I just think this will be interesting to see how it plays out, because there's a lot of talk going on with very little seeming responsibility for what anybody says.
Right. And I don't know the details. I don't know if mom and dad put $1 million in there for him, or they put in 200 and he turned it into $1 million and the million went back to 200. I mean, who knows, right? We don't know the story, I don't know, but you can't trade on margin or anything at Robinhood. So it's obviously money that you had that was no longer.
Yeah, right. I don't understand the story. It's just more to the point that, I mean, people are opening their traps, and there's just so much information flow and people are acting on it. It seems highly irresponsible in today's age.
Bob, I gotta ask you. Let's go to a little less intense conversation. But that the halftime show.
Yeah.
What did you think of the broad headset masked?
I couldn't figure out what it was, to tell you the truth.
Was it a whole alien look? Like, it was really
dark. Ambiguity is strong, Matt.
It was dark, though, wasn't it? Talk about a dark show.
I had no idea what was going on there.
Okay, I felt I wondered if my 20-something kids would have just thought I was just a curmudgeon, but I felt just dark after watching that halftime show. I don't know about it.
I never give that much credence to performers. I don't know, man. It was weird for sure.
I mean, he sounded good. I mean, his voice sounded great, and if he was singing while he was running around like that, the thing that I'm always amazed at is watching those guys run around. He's in Florida. It's got to be 60 degrees at 6, 7 o'clock. How the heck was he not sweating his balls off? I mean, he was running all over the place. He was in multiple spots. All of a sudden, he's down on the field. He's dancing out there with all the aliens. I was like, what's going on here?
I don't know.
And he wasn't sweating. He was like totally dry. I'm like, wow. Well,
Man, I love this share in the group. Again, and I keep the Lehman Brothers stock certificate on my trade desk because stuff goes to zero, folks, and it's important to know that. Anyway, this one, AOL, they're still around, right? I actually have a friend or two that still has an AOL email address.
Yeah, a few years ago, I know they got, kind of the trend everywhere was, get back to an old school AOL address. So, yeah, I know that was big a few years ago.
Blockbuster, not gone yet. We still have one here in Bend, Oregon.
The only one left in the States is in Bend, Oregon. Radio Shack, never went to them. Circuit City, gone. CompUSA, gone. Sears, gone. Hot Jobs, gone. Yahoo, pretty much gone. VoiceStream, I don't even remember that. Gateway, gone. And I had an AOL address. Definitely used Blockbuster. Radio Shack was always weird to me. Circuit City only for price. Best Buy was always Best Buy. So Best Buy won that. But Best Buy's dying too. So I don't get it.
It's
But that's
very
interesting.
interesting.
This is his 10th Super Bowl, and what was that year? 2005, I think, was probably his first one.
I think it was earlier than that. I think it
Okay.
was 2001 or two.
All right,
Was it?
so it's 20 years, but all those companies are basically gone. It's pretty powerful when you see stuff like that. And and again, this is the power of the S&P 500, when probably most of those companies were in the S&P, Bob, and every one of them is no longer in it. So why does the S&P keep going up? And this is why it is this is a crucial point, and why you should buy and hold the S&P, because they get rid of the junky companies and they put in the new ones, from Tesla to whatever the Bitcoin play of the day is, etc. And they get rid of the old ones and rinse and repeat. And so it's got an upward bias that is very difficult to fight.
Absolutely. Matt, speaking of that, let's talk a little crypto.
Please.
Do. I'm working on the audio on this intro.
I also
Crypto
saw
After Dark, Matt.
Crypto After Dark.
Crypto After Dark, where it's just the facts. Let's talk crypto, no bullshit.
Right.
Now this was interesting to me. I saw this tweet over the weekend. Right, SpaceX Finance Department attends MicroStrategy Bitcoin event, and then obviously the reason for the moonshot in Bitcoin was this: Tesla has been quietly assuming a bag, 1.5 billion on their balance sheet in Bitcoin, and back to the age of some responsibility in the word of people. Musk tweeted and Snoop Dogg both tweeted a Dogecoin, and I mean, it's like, come on, man, what the fuck? It's a pet rock, and you're tweeting about it. I don't get it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, Bob. It's just price discovery, Bob. Price discovery.
Well, here's a little bit of the reason why it's a pet rock. That's a graph of the interaction from people that are on the technology side of this thing, and it's dead. It's a dead coin. It's literally a pet rock, from my understanding of cryptography and the crypto sphere. Guaranteed, probably. But anyway, where's the responsibility of these people? And by the way, was he pumping Dogecoin so people would sell Bitcoin and buy Dogecoin so he could get more bags of Bitcoin? I mean, I don't know. It pisses me off when I see this kind of stuff, Matt.
Yeah. But again, buyer beware, and that's why we're here. I mean, you shouldn't. It's a good time to sell, probably, because all these are further pump jobs, and they don't last for unless you get a pump every day. You got to
especially the Dogecoin thing. It's just a game of pet rock, hot potato.
Well, and even on the Bitcoin, it's so great. You get this spike up.
Bring it up, Matt. Let's talk price discovery, because I actually think we got some room here now on the weekly. Let's talk it. Let's talk price discovery.
All right. So, we were brackets and rackets on Bitcoin 30 to 42, and we finally broke out. So to your point, if you believe in if we stay a couple days above this 42,000 level, which we're already back 1,000, we're already back 1,500, 43,000 from 44.5. So nothing but down, right? Nothing but down since the news hit. And again, that's what I look at. How has the market reacted after this news? So you had 20 minutes where it went from 39 to 45, 20 minutes, right? Okay, good luck chasing that. And then it's already given back a third of that move. So,
and I agree. From a long time trader, I hate buying news that you miss that pump. Like, why buy it now? I mean, I think the chart's got some more room, but I for sure I'm not jumping in here.
Now's the time where you got to pause and let it kind of settle in for a couple of days and see what the real pricing, where it's really going to settle. And if it in the next 24 hours, if it's back below 42, Bob, it's back to the the range that it's been in. So and that's that's been with us for the whole of the 2021 campaign. So 6 weeks in, right?
Right on.
But if we stay above here the next couple of days, then, to your point, maybe we go to 50,000. And I'm just looking at, a few months here. But if you want to bracket out and give us what you see, that'd be great to see it.
Yeah, hold on one second though. Yeah. Let me share. It's what I do. I actually would love to share, but sometimes I can't because I get handcuffed.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget.
Hands behind your back, sir.
All the processes that have to take place.
All right, here first, before I show that chart, man, I'm sitting in the hot tub this morning and I look up and I see this. I see the Starlink pass overhead. I'm like, holy shit, either the aliens are here or there's a massive military move or maybe it's the whole Starlink thing. And I saw it. Anyway, side note, spoos, not what I want to see here. Let's go to Bitcoin. And I want to talk a couple things here. Weekly. The weekly's got room. And coincidentally, if you double the 12,000 from your bracketing, it goes to 54,000, right? The collar on the weekly, 53,078.
Yep.
So for sure, there's that potentiality in the market. Again, it doesn't mean that it's got to do that, right?
Right.
By no means does it mean that. The thing that I wanted to point out was how much the beatdown continues when you look at these crosses. So this is Tezos, XTZ, right? And it had spent 3 or 4 weeks here out of lower momentum. But again, news in this market, the alts just get shattered when there's news because almost all the news is driven around and by Bitcoin. The other one that I'm actually a holder of, and how disappointed I am, links up 2%. Why am I in this? Matt? I should be in Bitcoin. Buyer's remorse. I'm down 7% from where I should be had I just been holding Bitcoin. Now, I think longer term, this looks like it's put in a bottom, but for sure, we're getting some good pushback on it now. Hey, I got a call coming in. It says scam likely. Should I pick it up?
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about
it. It's probably from a Dogecoin activist. Scam likely. And let's just look at Doge.
Elon telling you he's going to be buying some more.
Yeah. Hold on.
And tweeting some more.
Oh my God. I thought I moved it. There it is. That's just, if that is not a pump on, good luck with this one though, because, you could play it, but play it with extremely small capital. There should be like nickel slots as far as I'm concerned. And I actually saw Cuban saying, why not let your kids play with this with $10 and $15 and understand the price discovery and that there's pumps and dumps. Here's my problem with that is because some kids will play with $10 and $15, right? And then some kids will play with their check that they just got that was supposed to go to rent and education, and they'll play with $10,000 and lose it all and then blow their head off. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's a fucking pet rock. Call it a pet rock and say this is not something to be investing in.
Honestly, the ease of gambling available to anybody today is unbelievable. Like, when you and I were growing up, you had to go into the shady world of the back end of a bar to pick up your winnings, right? And that was always like the first few times you're like, oh, this is weird, right? It's a weird thing, picking up a bag of cash. But now today you can just get your Penn Gaming app if you're in Pennsylvania or Michigan and you're gambling. And then the same thing, Robinhood, you can take, as you said, you can fractional share buy on Robinhood. And now all these kids with their, checks and their $600 Donnie bucks, as they like to call them, from last year, they've all funded their trading accounts, which is great, I guess. And in that sense, it's, I don't know. Again, I'm conflicted by it because there's so much ignorance. And ignorance does not lead to positive things, right? Like we opened with that story about that poor kid killing himself, and that's shameful. So there's got to be some responsibility on both ends to the point. Understand the, the players of the game and the rules of the game before you get into it. I mean, just please, be wise. Don't step into this like it's easy money, because it's not.
Right. Exactly. A friend of my father back in the 70s, he was speaking with my brother, and he was in the markets, right? A market guy, board of trade, and then some of the early funds. And he said the markets are the greatest distributor of wealth, right? They're the greatest to take money away from people that don't understand the value of money and give it to people that do. And that's it's almost part of the function of the markets, is to teach people hard lessons. You know how hard it is to make the money, man. It's fucking hard to make money. Yeah. And if you just piss it away in something that you're not, and by the way, some of this stuff around trading they have gamified it to where it's like gambling, right? And so if you're not paying attention to the risk reward, to your capital base, to leverage, to all of these things, you're going to go broke, man. The people that understand money and how hard it is to make money are going to take all of your money. That's what the system is designed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. Again, just going through charts and charts over the weekend, and how many 5Xers since the first of the year, how many 10Xers since the first of the year. And we're only 6 weeks in, Bob. It's astounding to me. In my 30 plus years, 32 years of doing this, I've never seen a market really like this. Even in the late 90s with the internet bubble, stocks would go up $100 and then they'd get cut in half the next day. Matter of fact, Yahoo traded like the Bitcoin stocks do today. Yahoo and AOL, they all traded that way. But stocks today, I can't explain it. They go up even further than they did before, and then they never come down, I guess, until they get cut in half. And then it's just a shit show everywhere. So it's literally the biggest game of musical chairs I've ever seen in the 32 plus years I've been in the markets. And it's the greatest sucker standing, the last one standing, turn out the lights right now market. That's where we are. And the valuations make no sense. And when everybody and their brother jumps on every social app and everything and says, buy, silver, buy GME, buy AMC, buy Best Buy, blah, 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 they freaking all go bananas, and then they all get left holding the bag over and over again. So again, in a one-way market, which we've been in now, again, since the COVID low, I mean, you're coming up on a year of being nonstop bull market. And to me, that's scary. And it was a bull market already before that. You basically had one little hiccup of 30%. And then from there, we've gone to new highs and higher every day. I mean, we're up 7%, Bob, since last Sunday in 7 days. And most of it has been overnight. I can't, as a guy who looks at the futures much differently than probably, buy and hold doesn't work like that. The S&P going up 7% in a week is at 1% a day. It's insane. Especially with the lack of positive news. I guess we're climbing the wall of worry again. And again, I'm just saying, you got to be careful. I still think we're going to see a big sell-off here, February, March. And if I'm wrong, we'll know by April if it hasn't come. But it just feels to me the volume every day is less and less on the SPOOs, which is astounding as we're hitting higher prices. So there's divergences piling up, and I'm just sounding the warning siren. And if you want to day trade, that's one thing, but don't get left holding the bag on these 10Xers. I mean, they're 10X. Take your money.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Matt, I wanted to bring up one other thing because it's been on our radar, and that is the grains. And this is the wheat. This is the weekly in the wheat, and a giant consolidation, Matt, right? Giant consolidation from basically 625, let's say, on the low end, and the highs they've made so far, 690. Yeah. A 70-cent consolidation. Right now, that up momentum on the weekly, they're toying with it. It's right there where it's trading at 653. I have some wheat bags, no pun intended, not quite a bushel. But for sure, I think that these grain charts are looking like they want to recommence the rally. And for me, it's part of my disconnect with the whole Doge thing is that, what is it? It's smoke and mirrors, man. any person in cryptography will tell you it's a joke coin versus another chart when you look at, well, yeah, people got to eat and food shortages are going to be, more real than my gimmicky Dogecoin. That's part of the analysis too. Like I don't know. It blows me away that gets the story. And still, I mean, have you seen a spot in any television news and even the trading news organizations that have been talking about the grains? I mean, it's like silence out there.
It's pretty quiet, but it will come. Again, we had to get through the election. Now, it's interesting because it's also fascinating that the Senate is basically 50-50, right? It's 50-50 plus Kamala, so she's the one that's breaking the ties there. And then you have, I just read that the House of Reps is now only a 5-seat difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. So if you want to understand why Biden is just doing executive orders, because he would not be able to get anything done. And he's not going to be able to get anything done. And it's only going to get worse the more he executive orders things to their core. Listen, he's killed easily 100,000 jobs already in 6 weeks, or not even 6 weeks, 3 weeks. He's killed, he's raised the prices of crude and operating costs for the everyday household. Food costs have gone up across the board since he's been elected. And this stuff will factor over. And you've raised, the wages that people are earning across the board, and he wants to do it higher. And by the way, there's less jobs. So they're paying more to the people that are still clinging to their jobs marginally. And then the job increases are also, on the rise. So, or the job losses are on the rise. So it's
and there's a lot of fracturing. I know that Yellen got in it, right? With I don't know if that was a congressional testimony about.
She was in it with Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary.
About the stimulus. I know that some other big Biden supporters are they see this energy thing as just a giant problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
How about this one? Did you see that South Dakota this morning passed, through their legislature, something that will basically erase all of Biden's EOs for their state? So
again, we talked about this. Like, we're in the Constitution is the check and balance, and not only that, the protocol to challenge. I mean, it's pretty clear through most of the architecture of the government and the constitutionality of things, the checks and balances and how this actually gets settled out. It's so ambiguous here.
South Dakota is a big energy state that benefits greatly from the Keystone. So they're basically saying, you know what, keep building the Keystone through our state. That's how I read it.
Right, exactly. And so what is the National Guard going to show up and start picking people off if they're digging a
hole?
hole?
No, because it wasn't even a law. It's not even a law. So states are basically going to start doing this, Bob, double guns. And good luck, Biden. You're going to pigeon yourself into just your little fenced in DC area, I guess, with 20,000 troops supposedly protecting you from the masses. It's not going to end well, my friend.
Matt, let's pull up the oil and let's talk price discovery around that.
Sure. Yeah, oil hit another new high. And by the way, we're back into the 42 handles on Bitcoin as we are live here. I just wanted to toss that out there. Got an alert. And Bitcoin's trading, crude up at 58 today, Bob.
Yeah, share it. We don't see the screen.
Sorry about that. I will get there. So crude hit 58.16. It's currently trading right around 58. I mean, look at that move. I mean, just an expansive move from the 52 level. So up about 13% in a week. I mean, just boggling these moves again. And it has a lot to do with what we were just talking about. Policies in the Middle East also are affecting this, along with domestic policies around energy in the Keystone. This is what's driving this to the moon, along with the saber rattling and the foreign policy stuff that's going on in the Mideast with Iran and Iraq again, and also just China. I mean, China's stockpiling crude again because they don't have it. They've got to go and get it from the markets. And with ships being moved around and war games continuing to escalate, I don't see this kind of slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah,
Very
man, let me share because I think the chart is real clear for me on crude. And this is the weekly. And, since interesting to note too, I'll come back to this. But since this week here of the 30th of November, where they had the major rally, and we've kicked that potentiality on the upper band. And now, I mean, when I look at this chart longer term, I mean, $64, why wouldn't it go there? Why wouldn't it go test these highs, the high from 22nd April of 19, that high 66.60, and then this high January of 20, 65.65.
Yeah.
I just don't, there's nothing in it from a standard deviation modeling, especially on that outer band, that's going to collar this thing until you get into that double top. So, shut down pipelines if you want, but everybody's going to pay for it in the rear end for sure going forward.
And then on the same hand, you see, Porsche come out and say 90% of their cars are going to be electric by 2030. So there you go. Chew on that.
And then you also get the $80,000 price tag, more than a Tesla, and by Road and Track's metrics, it grades out at about half of the coolness of a Tesla. That Porsche name, boy, that's a lot to pay for less of a car.
Yeah, but again, after having just a Nissan Leaf that could blow away my AMG S55 off the line, I'm like, I have no problem with the whole. I don't know. You can come up with some way to mufflerize your sound in the electric. Sure.
Right.
Put a sweet stereo.
I think the new Tesla's got a 0 to 60.
Yeah, as soon as you hit the accelerator, it'll make that noise and make.
I actually think that somebody's working on that add-on.
Mm-hmm. It's just sound. It's a free sound app. It doesn't even cost anything.
0 to 60, I think, in under 2 seconds now.
Yeah.
The Tesla. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's rocket ship.
It is.
Anyway, Matt, that's all I got. Happy Monday to everybody out there.
Happy Monday.
Please join us at marketvitals.io. Matt, a couple new subscribers over the weekend. Why don't we do this, Matt? Why don't we Malcolm in the middle? Let's welcome Bay and Daniel and Alex and David. Thank you for joining. And we will continue to talk actionable price information as we do every day inside the network. So please join us at marketvitals.io. Please share the stream and share the podcast as you see it come up. That would be greatly appreciated. And other than that, Matt, Monday.
Happy Valentine's Day, Bob.
Valentine's Day coming up. Maybe I'll try to reboot Waiting in Vain and get the lyrics right for Valentine's Day.
We're waiting in vain for it.
Right on. Tomorrow we got a special guest, Dr. Harlan Steuven, dining grades, an expert in foodborne illness. And so we're going to pick his brain on something off the subject of trading, but great information as we move forward through this pandemic.
Pandemic.
All right, Matt, you have a great day.